decide that you need more time, it will certainly be up to the chair and vice chair and all of you to determine that you'd like to extend it. And that's not uncommon with a topic that is so very broad and so very representative of a major public need that we have in this state. So I could almost envision and predict maybe that there will be perhaps an extension of this commission in the future. So the first order of business will be the nomination of the chairperson. And so I would like to ask if anyone would like to nominate a chair for this commission. And Chair Williams?
Yes, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. At this time, I would like to nominate Representative June Speakman as chair of this commission.
Thank you, Whip. And so are there any other suggestions? Hearing none, may I see, in fact, a show of hands for support? And then I will also just make sure, because this is our first meeting back in person, I'll just ask you as well with a roll call. So, Chair Speakman. So do you agree with the nomination and support it? Great. And obviously, Chair Williams?
Yes.
Thank you. And Whip Chippendale?
Yes.
David Caldwell. Okay, he could not make it. Amy Raynon.
Yes.
Thank you. Melina Lodge.
I do.
Scott Wolf. David Salvatore.
Aye.
Thank you. Caitlin Frumery. Okay. Karen Scott.
Yes.
You. Emily Friedman.
Yes.
Jun-Sung Kim. Yes. Thank you. Ken Millett. Linda Weisinger.
Yes.
Thank you. Neil Steinberg.
Yes.
Thank you. Jennifer Hawkins. And Bob Marshall.
Yes.
Thank you. Terrific. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to the newly elected chair.
Excuse me, Madam. Someone
Certainly.
just entered. I don't know if it's a member or not. So.
Yes. Thank you, Chair Williams. And so I believe Scott Wolf, is that you? That is I. Yes. Terrific. Thank you. Thank you. No worries at all. We appreciate you being here today and participating. At this time, I just did a vocal roll call. And Scott, what this verbal roll call was for is the actual election, if you will, or appointment of June Speakman, Rep. Speakman, as the chair of this commission. So may I have your agreement or your, perfect. Thank you. That's terrific. We appreciate that. Thank you. So at this time, I will turn it over to Chair Speakman, and she will attend to the nomination of the vice chair now at this time.
Thank you, Lynn, and thank you all for that vote of support. That was the easiest election I've had, so I appreciate that. I will now entertain nominations for vice chair. I would like to, Rep. Chippendale.
Madam Chair, with permission, I would like to nominate Representative Chairwoman Anastasia Williams for vice chair.
I will second that. Thank you. Do we need a roll call again for that?
Sure do.
Okay. Or are there any other nominations? Okay, then the nominations are closed, and a roll call, please.
Certainly. Chair Speakman?
Yes.
Chair Williams?
Absolutely.
Terrific. And Whip Chippendale?
Aye.
Thank you. Dave Caldwell, who's not present. Amy Raynon?
Yes.
Okay. Melina Lodge?
Yes.
Scott Wolf?
Aye, present.
Great. David Salvatore?
Aye.
Caitlin? Not here. Nope. Karen Scott? Great. Emily Friedman?
Aye.
Great. Jun-Sung Kim? Thank you. Ken Millett? Not here. Linda Weisinger?
Yes.
Thank you. Neil Steinberg?
Yes.
Thank you. Jennifer Hawkins? And Bob Marshall?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Unanimous support on both. And thank you so much, and I look forward to the great work of this commission. Chairwoman.
Thank you, Lynn. Appreciate it. So what I'd like to do now is just have us each introduce ourselves, if we would, what our association is professionally and anything else we want to say. I'll start it off. As we know, I'm June Speakman. I represent District 68, Bristol and Warren. I served 14 years on the Barrington Town Council before relocating about a mile to the south in Warren, and then was elected to this seat. While in Barrington, I spent a lot of time working on getting low moderate housing developments approved there. It's not an easy lift, as many of you know. We received a lot of support from many of the folks actually on this panel, and I learned a lot about how to do this work and some of the pitfalls and difficulties of it as well. My other side hustle, as everyone refers to it these days, is I'm a professor of political science at Rogers Williams University, where I teach courses on public policy, public administration, and other things. So I like a data-driven, evidence-based approach to the policy work that we do here, and I know that's what we will do. Chairwoman Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Anastasia Williams, representative of District Number 9 in the City of Providence. I've been elected since 1992, which was just day before yesterday, but at any rate, I started out being a community organizer. I stand on integrity, courage, and loyalty. Integrity based on the foundation my family taught me. Courage, there's no challenge that I will not confront. And my loyalty to truth and honesty, truth and to the people for whom I serve, no matter what the situation is. I am fortunate and happy to know that I am going to be part of this commission. I see some of the faces that I know and some that I hope to get to know. But in the same tone, I notice that there's none of yous that look like me on here, and that is a disparity in itself. Even though, you know, you might say that you're here to do God's work or do the right thing, but remember, you can't do for me unless I'm here to tell you what it is I need. And I say that with much respect. You know, coming and sitting around the tables, it's always represented of others. But this is an issue and concern for us, the poor, people of color, the marginalized, and the discarded. They should be at this table too. And if the table is not big enough, we need to make it big enough, because it's not about you all. You all been at this game for a long time, and the problems are still existent. So not to say that to blame you, but to tell you that what you're looking at is not what you're actually seeing. You should be looking and seeing more of me where you're seated. And with that, I pass it on to Representative Chippendale.
Thank you. I am Representative Michael Chippendale of District 40, which is the towns of Foster, Gloucester, and Greene, which is Western Coventry, and I assure everyone at home that those are in fact towns in Rhode Island. I was elected in 2010, and I've been honored to serve in this building with my colleagues and with many others in the past, over the past 11 years, working on issues that are, of course, important to my district. I'm looking forward to working with my colleague Anastasia Williams, my colleague Rep. June Speakman, and everyone on this panel to learn about those things that we just heard from Chairwoman Williams, because I don't know them, and I need to know them in order to effectively participate in this committee, in this commission. I also suspect, on the inverse, that I will be bringing a view from the woods, so to speak, where I live and where I represent, that may be new to other folks. So I'm looking forward to a collaborative relationship among all of us to get to the heart of the issues, make sure that everyone is included, everyone, and that we move forward, not sideways. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's start with Amy and then move down the front row and then the back row. Amy?
Thank you, Chairwoman. Amy Raynon from Rhode Island Housing. I'm the Director of Government Relations and Policy for Rhode Island Housing. Rhode Island Housing is I think you all are familiar with, quasi-public, with a public purpose in Rhode Island that touch the low and moderate income housing issue on sort of many fronts. From we have some statutory responsibilities under the Low and Moderate Income Housing Act, but we also finance affordable housing development. We provide rental assistance. We provide affordable mortgages for low and moderate income home buyers. So very interested in working with all of the members of the commission on how we can work through all those different channels to increase the supply of affordable housing in the state and access to it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Emily Friedman, Director of Community Development with the City of Providence. It's been my great privilege to serve in this role within the Division of Housing and Community Development with the city for over 5 years, and have also served in the affordable housing, finance, and community development sectors for over a decade. The city, if those are not aware, recently completed a comprehensive housing strategy, which essentially is a 10-year blueprint to boost affordability and prevent displacement in the city of Providence. And I think we can all agree that now more than ever, it's incredibly apparent that the need for safe and affordable housing is critical. And we should share that as a common goal across the state. And I look forward, and the city looks forward to our collective action as a state, as cities and towns, as developers and builders, to further this and increase the supply of affordable housing in Rhode Island. And I look forward to the good work of this commission.
Thank you. Melina.
Hello, Melina Lodge for the Housing Network of Rhode Island. I'm the Executive Director. The Housing Network is the trade association for 17 nonprofit and community development-based organizations who provide affordable housing. Currently, we have somewhere around 15,000 affordable units in our collective portfolio. I also oversee the Community Housing Land Trust of Rhode Island, which is a monitoring agent to make sure that the folks who are residing in affordable housing meet the requirements under the LOMAD Act. In my former life, I was a community planner, so I have some experience in that regard also, and I'm interested in seeing what this group can come up with around creative strategies to move forward with creating housing opportunity for all Rhode Islanders in all places, regardless. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jong-sung Kim. I am a professor and chair of economics department at Bryant University, and this is my first time to attend this meeting. And then this is a great honor to be invited. Well, and before coming to this meeting, a while ago, I received the document, 110 pages of a PDF file, and that is covering the earlier meetings until 2018. So I read all 110 pages again, and before coming to this meeting. But still, and there are many things I should know. So definitions and also activities. But I am looking forward to working with a great colleague from here. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Bob Marshall. I'm from the Rhode Island Developmental Disabilities Council. The council has in its new 5-year plan a commitment to broaden the role, the options available to adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities for housing. We feel that it's time, or beyond time, that people don't just assume that all people with intellectual and developmental disabilities will either live with their aging parents or in a group home. There are a lot of people that have successfully found, against the odds, other housing, and we'd like to lower those odds and make more things available. And also, we're just committed to housing. We think that access to affordable housing in general will raise all boats, and so if we can get more of it, then the integrated possibilities we're looking for should be there.
Thank you. Linda.
Hi, I'm Linda Weisinger. I'm the Executive Director of Pawtucket Central Falls Development Corporation. We are a community-based nonprofit organization located in Pawtucket, serving primarily the cities of Pawtucket and Central Falls. We have developed over 300 rental units and over 150 home ownership units in Pawtucket and Central Falls. We also are a member of the Housing Network of Rhode Island, and I'm interested in sort of working on the commission and identifying barriers around the creation and development around housing. I think that there are a lot of barriers that can be identified and addressed, and looking forward to be part of the commission. So thanks for the opportunity.
Hi, Neil Steinberg. I'm the president and CEO of the Rhode Island Foundation. Prior to that, I was a long-term banker. I've been on more commissions, read more blueprints and white papers and studies on affordable housing in my career. None of them very different than the one that was done whenever the last time is done. I'm very excited about this. I have a lot of hope, especially with the speakers backing, with the chairs that we have. And I hope we're only judged by one thing, and that is, do we take the rhetoric to action? If it's more rhetoric and we publish something and somebody's sitting here again in 5 years, we all go home. Because right now, we know the costs of everything, of every piece of lumber, of concrete, of steel, of property, of labor, are going up faster than we're creating housing for the people that need it the most. So that's my hope.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name's Scott Wolf. I'm Executive Director of Grow Smart Rhode Island. We believe very strongly that Rhode Island cannot grow smart if we don't expand our supply of affordable housing. We can't grow smart if we don't increase the associated challenge of population growth. I think that often this issue is viewed from a moral prism and a social justice prism, and I support that framework, but I also think we need to understand that this is a pragmatic and very necessary objective for the state of Rhode Island. Right now, we've got a real crisis, which is not news to anybody here when it comes to the lack of housing generally, and specifically the lack of affordable housing. And I hope we can, in addition to looking at nitty-gritty changes to rules and regulations and provisions of the Lomond Act, I hope we can work on some kind of a communication strategy that undermines some of the urban myths and suburban myths about affordable housing, and also that we can kind of change some people's perspective about affordable housing so that they look at it more as an opportunity for strengthening a community rather than a burden imposed on the community. So those are just some preliminary thoughts. It's a great group, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the Commission. David Salvatore. I work for the Rhode Island Association of Realtors. I have relationships with many of you. We've worked throughout the years on many initiatives together, but I do want to thank you for the privilege of joining this commission and its important work. RIAR recognizes that prospective homeowners, current homeowners, and tenants alike are being priced out of the housing market. This is, I think, from the realtor perspective, not just a red-hot housing market, but it's something where housing opportunities aren't afforded to everybody. Again, whether it be on the homeownership side or on the rental side. So we've talked over the years about a lot of strategies on how we can promote more housing for all and fair housing, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you on some of the recommendations that come out of this commission. And as Neil said, bringing those recommendations to fruition. I think the last thing we need is another report that doesn't generate the housing that is necessary for all of Rhode Island. So thank you.
Thank you. My name is Karen Scott. I'm the town planner in Gloucester, Rhode Island. I'm so happy to be here and be included with this group. I think the perspective that I hope to bring to the table as part of our discussions is looking at affordable housing creation through the lens of rural towns who sometimes face some difficult infrastructure challenges when trying to add not just affordable housing, but any housing or any economic development. And so I hope to work with this group of great minds to come up with some solutions on how some rural communities can help contribute more affordable housing in a way that works for the environment that they come in. Thanks.
Thank you. It's, again, impressive array of folks and organizations represented here. As Chairwoman Williams points out, though, not all voices are at the table, and we will work to make sure that all those voices are heard one way or another. Rep. Williams and I will continue our conversations about that. I'd like the staff to introduce themselves, please, so folks know who you are and what you can offer to the commission. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Christine O'Connor, and I am a policy analyst in the House Policy Department. I'm new into the department, new into the state employment. but have over 16 years of public housing experience in the state. So none of this is really new to me, and I hope that the commission, I'm sure the commission will move forward with some great ideas that we can put into action.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Charlie Donovan, as well with the House Policy Office. I've had an opportunity to work with a couple previous low and moderate income housing commissions, so I'm very conscious of all of the issues that everyone is dealing with. And I too look forward to helping, and along with my colleague Christine, in any way possible to facilitate some of these answers and some of these decisions going forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Now we have on our agenda the reading of Resolution H5953. I think Christine's going to do that for us.
I think that's all right, right? Okay. So it's House Resolution 5953, Substitute A. Whereas Rhode Island's Low and Moderate Income Housing Act requires housing in 29 of Rhode Island's communities be comprised of at least 10% affordable housing. 10 communities are exempt due to their percentage of rental housing and/or current affordable housing inventory. And whereas, to date, out of those 29 cities and towns, only New Shoreham has met the target, and only 5 of the state's total 39 cities and towns, Central Falls, Newport, New Shoreham, Providence, and Woonsocket, have met the mandate threshold, with many of the state's cities and towns seemingly disregarding the benchmark. And whereas there exists a high concentration of poverty in the cities of Central Falls, Providence, Pawtucket, and Woonsocket, and whereas there is a paramount need for millennial housing for young professionals to stabilize and grow cities such as Central Falls, yet there are very few affordable home ownership opportunities, and the majority of housing consists of rental units in triple-deckers owned by absentee landlords. And whereas, according to the Housing Works report, across the United States, 47.5% of Latino households own their own homes, but in Rhode Island, according to the 2018 State of Hispanic Home Ownership Report, that number is drastically lower at 27.73%. And whereas Rhode Island also has one of the lowest non-white home ownership rates in the United States, and of the state's overall total home ownership rate of 61.8%, only approximately half that number is non-whites. Rhode Island was ranked as the 44th lowest state in the nation for existing home ownership disparity by Prosperity Now. And whereas, although redlining, the practice of limiting lending in certain neighborhoods, regardless of the individual's credit worthiness, is banned by federal law, it continues to plague our state's minority neighborhoods. And whereas it is essential that these institutional practices, discriminatory actions, and public policies be addressed, and that solution be found, now therefore be it resolved that a special legislative commission be, and the same is hereby created, consisting of 17 members, 3 of whom shall be members of the Rhode Island House of Representatives, not more than 2 from the same political party, to be appointed by the Speaker of the House, 1 of whom shall be the President of the Rhode Island Builders Association or designee, 1 of whom shall be the Executive Director of Rhode Island Housing or designee, 1 of whom shall be the President of the Housing Network of Rhode Island or designee, 1 of whom shall be the Executive Director of Grow Smart Rhode Island or designee, 1 of whom shall be the Chief Executive Officer of the Rhode Island Association of Realtors or designee, one of whom shall be the Executive Director of the Rhode Island Coalition for the Homeless, or designee, 4 of whom shall be members of the Rhode Island League of Cities and Towns, 2 of whom shall be residents of a Rhode Island city or town with a population of 35,000 or more residents, and 2 of whom shall be residents of a Rhode Island city or town with a population of less than 35,000 residents, all of whom shall be appointed by the Speaker of the House, 1 of whom shall be the Executive Director of Pawtucket Central Falls Development, or designee, 1 of whom shall be the President and CEO of the Rhode Island Foundation, or designee, 1 of whom shall be from One Neighborhood Builders, and 1 of whom shall be a member of the Rhode Island Developmental Disabilities Council, to be appointed by the Speaker of the House. In lieu of any appointment of a member of the legislature to a permanent advisory commission, a legislative study commission, or any commission created by a General Assembly resolution, the appointing authority may appoint a member of the general public to serve in lieu of a legislator, provided that the majority leader or the minority leader of the political party which is entitled to the appointment consents to the member of the general public. The purpose of said commission shall be to make a comprehensive study of the Rhode Island Low and Moderate Income Housing Act, including, but not limited to, a review of 1, statewide data for low and moderate income housing by city and town, 2, cities and towns' strategic economic and housing plans, 3, the Brookings Institute reports and other relevant data referencing affordable housing, and 4, cities and towns' compliance, performance, and barriers to implementation, and the Commission shall provide recommendations for aiding cities and towns to successfully meet requirements of the Act. Forthwith, upon passage of this resolution, the members of the Commission shall meet at the call of the Speaker of the House and organize and shall select a chairperson from among the legislators. Vacancies in said commission shall be filled in like manner as the original appointment. The membership of said commission shall receive no compensation for their services. All departments and agencies of the state shall furnish such advice and information, documentary or otherwise, to said commission and its agents as is deemed necessary or desirable by the commission to facilitate the purposes of this resolution. The Speaker of the House is hereby authorized and directed to provide suitable quarters for said commission, and be it further resolved that the commission shall report its findings and recommendations to the House of Representatives no later than December 16th, 2021, and said commission shall expire on April 17th, 2022.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Representative Chippendale, Whip Chippendale.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have a statement. Certainly, I supported this legislation, this resolution, when it was on the floor, and voted for it. Although I did have some concerns with some of the language, and I just want to go over that. When we're dealing with a resolution, the portion, for those who may be following at home, that starts off with "whereas" is a legislative finding of fact or a statement of fact, and then we resolve to address those things that are stated as facts. 2 things that I am taking exception with are on page 1, lines 7 and 8, where we say, with many of the state's cities and towns seemingly disregarding the benchmark, meaning the 10%. And then a little further down on lines 13 and 12, where we say majority of housing consists of rental units and triple-deckers owned by absentee landlords. Those aren't findings of facts. Those are presumptive, divisive, hyperbolic rhetoric. And I know that this commission will be much better than this language, and I think the language is a reflection of exactly what was spoken about earlier, is that we don't understand one another's situations and perspectives in this challenge that we all face. So with that said, I have the utmost confidence that we will do great work to overcome all of these issues that have been outlined by this great panel, and that this language in here is not necessarily going to sway how we resolve this issue that doesn't seem to want to go away. Thank you for indulging me.
Thank you, Whip. Are there any other, Chairwoman Williams?
Yes, thank you. My point exactly. While you disagree with that, because I know you have a kind heart and you look at the glass half full opposed to half empty, and I applaud you for that, just know that the decisiveness that you mentioned, it's a reality. It's a reality in many of our urban core cities, and so it is in the right place. So we can address it from this perspective, and this is why I say one size does not fit all, and that's why it needs to have more representation than what's here, with all due respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairwoman. And with regard to the seemingly disregard language, I think that will become clear once we get the analysis from all of the cities and towns in terms of compliance and comprehensive plans. So thank you, Whip. Any other questions or comments about the charge, about this resolution? Okay, so I know you were promised a short meeting today. Before we talk about scheduling, though, I would like to request that staff send every member of the commission a copy of the report that was generated by Representative Maldonado and her commission a couple of years ago. If you could do that, that would be great. They had the same charge, and they made some progress in the research. And so I think we can probably build on the work they did. So if you could see to it that everyone received that. And perhaps the Housing Works report that's referred to in the legislation as well, and the Brookings report, so that we have all the documents that have been referred to here. And if any members of the commission wish other resources to be shared with the group, please forward them to the Christine and CJ. Is that how you prefer to be called, by the way? That's not the way you introduced yourself. Okay, thank you. And they can make sure that we all have access to them. I don't know if there's a file drop function that we use or something like that where you can put things in and we all have access to it, but I'll leave that to you to sort out how you're going to share information with the members of the commission. So please, if there's anything that you wish us to have and to share, send it along and they will make sure that all of us get it. Is that the right way to handle that? Yeah, okay, good. We've already talked about the need to broaden their perspectives, and I appreciate that, and we will work on that. Any questions or comments on resources or the charge? Okay. So in terms of scheduling, I'm told that August is not a time to schedule meetings in Rhode Island. I am neither a sailor nor a golfer, nor do I have a beach house. So I'm perfectly happy to meet in August. I know that there are concerns about getting a quorum, but if we could pick a date, the second Tuesday of the month or the third Wednesday or whatever it is that works for folks. I have no idea how to do that. If you have suggestions, please help me. But I would not like to skip August if we can get a quorum to have a meeting in August. I would like to do that. Sense of the body? Yes? It depends on the date, I know, but okay.
Madam Chair, are you anticipating monthly or even more than monthly meetings between now and
Well,
mid-December?
what's the pleasure of the group? Yes, Rep. Williams.
I've heard it mentioned that it's an urgency.
Crisis,
And I
would
know
say.
everybody's got the urgency of being at the beach and all that good loveliness with the picnics and all that. And hey, I want to be there too. But this is something near and dear to my heart. And not that it is y'all's, but because of what I said, and you all have said it as well, and you deal with it basically on a daily basis, skipping any time would be a waste of time, in my opinion. The work has already been done. We don't have to reinvent any wheels. We know what the problems are. We are supposed to be here presenting the solutions to those problems. So it shouldn't be a situation where we need to wait meet just once every month. And especially when we have the opportunity to extend time, but we have to December. I think we could knock this whole commission out of the ballpark in a few months before the end of the year if we utilize the time wisely. That's my opinion.
Are you suggesting twice a month, perhaps?
I would say twice a month.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be long. Like I said, we're not reinventing anything. This is nothing new going on here. So it should be quick.
Do, any objections to twice a month? I know it depends on the date. Okay,
And everybody's not going to be here, but we're going to work with what we got.
that's right. Does staff have a recommendation about the best way to schedule a group this big?
That's fine. If I may, Madam Chair, any meeting that we have is public and will be recorded. So if someone cannot make a meeting, Christine or myself will make sure that that meeting is then sent out so someone can catch up on any of the activity that was taking place if they were not there, and be happy to do that.
Great, good, good. So any recommendations? Again, in my other gig, we do doodle polls, but I don't know if there's a way of doing that right here, right now, but,
I'd be happy to send out an email to everyone as well and just try to
okay, that'd be great.
interpret the
Good.
best
Any
course of
objections to
action.
that method? That's okay with everyone? All right, perfect. And we'll do it quickly, and I commit to you that you will receive more than a few days' notice about the next meeting. I've heard from a couple of you about the difficulties, and I understand that. I will say that the General Assembly and all of the staff have had a new reality this past year, as we all have, and so getting used to being isolated and then being quasi-isolated and then being not isolated at all and having all of the IT, scheduling was a monster this past year, so I do, I don't exactly apologize, but I certainly explain why we have had a few organizational bumps at the beginning, and I appreciate your patience on that, and thank the staff for getting us where we are today, so
And
thank
you
you.
also were thrown a curveball less than a week, right? About the format of the meeting, right?
We were, yes, we were. We were going to be on Zoom, or on WebEx, and then things changed. And that change was a positive move, I think. It's, although one hears other things now about other changes, but we won't get into that. That's beyond the charge of this committee. So, so staff will send out a scheduling request, and we will hopefully meet again in a couple of weeks, and you'll all receive some resources. Any other business before us? I am deeply grateful for all of your willingness to serve. I don't think anyone who was asked said no, so thank you for that very much. And you know how to find me and anyone else on the commission, so thank you again. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Whip. Is there a second?
Seconding it all day long.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you again.